بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وبعد. Did Ibn Taymiyyah believe the universe is eternal? The Greek philosopher spoke of the eternity of matter and eternal universe, and on the Al-Kalam, Jahmiyyah, Mu'tazila, Ashariya, Maturidiyya, and Karamiyya and Rafidiyya Mujassima attempted to affirm the origin of the universe by employing the conceptual tools of those same Greek philosophers to devise a rational proof. In the process, some were forced into this ta'til, the vestment of Allah's attributes, and others fell into the sin when those who were upon the way of the Greek philosophers such as Al-Farabi died 339 Hijriya and Ibn Sina died 429 Hijriya saw the inherent flaw in this proof. They found and used it as an argument to bolster their claim of the universe being eternal, despite the fact that they never had any fundamental proof that the universe is eternal to begin with. In this matter, the Al-Kalam opened up a door of a great evil upon the Ummah. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, seeing the errors of the Mutakallimin in this regard, wrote extensively on this matter and aided the Mutakallimin against the philosophers regarding the errors of the Mutakallimin, pointing out the flaws in the argument and showing them the correct way to combat the philosophers and destroy the arguments. Because of the feeble and crippled intellects of many of his adversaries, from the Al-Kalam, the Ash'arites in particular, they accuse Ibn Taymiyyah of affirming the universe is eternal without actually understanding his words and arguments. In this series of articles, we'll address this matter by Allah's permission. Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah corroborates that everything besides Allah is originated, has a beginning, and is preceded by its own non-existence. Kitab Safadiyya. This matter is stated in abundance by Ibn Taymiyyah in many of his famous and well-known works, such that none can claim to be ground of this fact. We will cite here from the book of Sadafiyya, Tahqiq al-Muhammad Rashid Salim, 1406 Hijriya. This monumental book of Ibn Taymiyyah is a refutation of the philosophers on two matters. Firstly, they claim that the miracles of the Prophet are merely manifestation of the strength of inherent faculties. Secondly, they claim that the universe is eternal. A fair share of the book is dedicated to this latter affair, even if the main aim of the book was to address the first issue. This book is mentioned as a work of Ibn Taymiyyah by numerous Sunni authorities, from them Al-Safadi, Ibn Al-Wafil, Al-Wafiyat, Ibn Rajab Al-Hambali, Ibn Abd al-Hadi, student of Ibn Taymiyyah, among others, and Ibn Taymiyyah himself makes reference to it. A number of his other works. Here we present a sample of it very clear, very clear and explicit statement in the particular matter at hand. Ibn Taymiyyah wrote Al-Sadifiyya 1/121. وهذا ما يتبين به بطلان قولهم في القديم العالم، ويتبين أن كل ما سوى الله تعالى عابد بعد أن لم يكن. And this is from that by which the fatality of their saying about the eternity of the universe is made clear, and a clarification that everything that is besides Allah is originated, coming to be how it was not. He also wrote 1/14 ولكن الذين نطقت به الكتب والرسل أن الله خالق كل شيء وما سوى الله من الأخلاق والملائكة وغير ذلك مخلوق ومحدث كائن بعد أن لم يكون مسبوق بإعدام نفسه وليس مع الله شيء قديم يقدمه في العالم لا إفلاق ولا الملائكة سواء سميت عقولا ونفوسا أو لم تسم. However, that which the revealed books and messengers spoke with is that Allah is the creator of every single thing. So whatever is besides Allah, from the planetary orbits, the angels, and other than that, it is all created makhluk, originated muhdath, coming to be after not existing, preceded by its own non-existence, and there is nothing present in the universe alongside Allah, anything eternal with its eternity. neither the planetary orbits nor the angels, respective of whether they are called intellects or souls or not. And also 1-71 ونحن نبين بطلان استدلالهم على القدم العالم على هذا تقدير الآخر فقولهم لأن السبب المؤثر لا بد وأن يكون. And we shall explain the futility of the evidence for the eternity of the universe upon these other consideration. And also 1-79 وهذا برهان شريف على حدوث ما سوى الله مطلقا وهو مبنى على المقدمات الصحيحة الذي تسلمها فلاسفة وغيرهم. And this is a noble evidence for the origination of everything besides Allah, absolutely, and it is built upon correct fundamental principles which are acknowledged by the philosophers and others besides them. And also 1-146 to 147 وهذا المقام هو من الأصول الإدام الذي أضربت فيها رؤوس أهل الندر والفلاسفة والكلام ومن سلك طريق النبوية السامية على أن العقل سري مطبق للنقل صحيح وقال يموج العقل في هذا وفي هذا وأثبت ما أتبيته رسل من خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام وأن الله خالق كل شيء وربه وملكه ولم يجعل شيئا سوى الله قديما معه بل كل ما سواه محدث كائن بعد أن لم يكون. And this arena of discussion is from the mighty principles in which the chiefs of the people of inspection, philosophy and kalam have stumbled. Whoever traverses the lofty prophetic path will know that sound reason agrees with the authentic revealed text and he will speak in accordance with the necessity of reason in this affair. And in that affair he will affirm what the messengers affirmed of the creation of the heavens and earth in 6 days, that Allah is the creator of everything, its law and its honor, and that he never made anything besides Allah to be eternal alongside him. Rather, everything besides him is originated, coming to be after not being. This is only a small sample of the abundance of what is found in this great work, an excellent refutation of the secular deist philosophers and their baseless views that oppose both sound reason and authentic revelation. As for the Al-Kalam, when they resorted to the conceptual language and tools of the philosophers themselves in devising their proof Hudut al-Ijsam, the origination of bodies, see this article. Better still, read this article series. Read the entire series. They were forced in order to remain consistent with their proof to deny Allah's names, attributes, and actions. To varying degrees, however, they were all united in denying that Allah has speech and action tied to his will and power. In other words, Allah's chosen actions, af'al ikhtiyariya. Because of this, they were unable to satisfactorily refute the others philosophers, despite make a display of pomp and glitter of it. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah corroborated that everything besides Allah is originated, has beginning and is preceded by its own non-existence. Kitab Minhaj Sunnah. Minhaj Sunnah al-Nabawiyya is another monumental book by Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, and its refutation of al-Rafidi Shiite called Ibn al-Mutahhar al-Hili, died 76 Hijriya, who wrote a book called Kitab al-Istiqama fi al-Itibat al-Imama, around 90 pages in length. This book was written by this Rafidi and presented to the king known as Al-Jaito Huda Banda, from the descendant of Genghis Khan, hoping that through it people will be invited and called the Shiite religion. This king adopted Shiism in 87 in Hijriya. Historically, the Shia had adopted a Mu'tazila theology, and so Ibn Taymiyyah refuted them in a number of areas. In the issue of Imamate, the issue of Qadr, the issue of the attribute and other matters within this work, Ibn Taymiyyah also addressed the claim of the philosophers of the universe being eternal. In the published Minhaj Sunnah Tahqiq Muhammad Rashad Salim, It is 69 volumes, around 300 pages, are dedicated to the issue of the eternity of the universe. We will quote some excerpts from this, inshallah. Ibn Taymiyyah wrote: فليس شيء من الموجودات مقارن لله تعالى، كما يقول الدهرية فلاسفة إن العالم معلول له وهو موجب له مفيد له، وهو متقدم عليه بالشرف والعالية والطبع، وليس متقدما عليه بالزمان، فإنه لو كان إلة تماما موجبة يقترن بها معلولها كما زعموا لم يكن في العالم شيء مهدد، فإن ذلك مهدد لا يهد على الإلة تامة أزلية يقارنها معلولها، فإن المهدد معي لا يكون أزليا. There is nothing from any of the existing beings that are simultaneous in their existence with Allah the Exalted without Him preceding them, as is said by the other philosophers, that the universe is cause effect of His, and is the universe existence is a binding necessity of His existence being incapable with His existence, and that He, Allah, preceded it only in the sense of nobility, cause, and character. He does not precede it in terms of time, zaman. Now, if He had been a perfect necessitating cause, whose effect is simultaneous with it, as these philosophers claim, they will not anything that is originated muhdad in the universe, since that originated thing will not have come to be on account of an eternal perfect cause, whose effect is simultaneous to it, since a specific originated thing can never be eternal. Comment: those who followed the Greek philosophers such as Al-Farabi, Ibn Sina, did not have any proof at all that the universe is eternal, and they knew this. However, when they saw the Ahl al-Kalam, Jahmiyyah, Mu'tazila, Hishamiyya, Karamiyya, Ash'ariyya, adduced the proof of Hudud, al-Ajsam, origination of bodies, to prove the universe at the beginning, and saw them being forced to hold a particular view regarding Allah's action. Now, actions can be established with Allah's license to avoid what they call ahad events. All these in order to remain consistent with their proof, which depended upon their principle. An endless chain of events is impossible in the past. The likes of Ibn Sina laughed at them and saw their treasure. The Ahl al-Kalam had two approaches. First, the Jahmiyyah and Mu'tazila held that whilst Allah existed eternally, speech and action was impossible for Him, and then all of a sudden it became possible for Him without any reason or explanation, and thus was the heavens and the earth created, and it was created without any action or speech being established with Allah Himself. This was to avoid invalidating their proof that the universe is originated, because it possesses incidental attributes. So if Allah created the universe, in the attribute of creating is established with Allah's existence as an attribute ascribed to Him. This means Allah too will be created, since whatever is not devoid of incidental attribute is self-originated. According to their principle, thus the speech of Allah is only the speech Allah creates in the creation, not that He has an attribute of speech. This is what led them say the Quran is created, and likewise the attribute of Allah and actions of Allah are merely what is manifest in the creation, not that they are established with His essence. This was the approach of the Jahmiyyah and Mu'tazila in trying to hold a consistent position of the religious proof, which was in fact pioneered by the Hellenic Sabians, and amongst the Ummah drew Al-Ja'd bin Dirham and Al-Jahm bin Safwan. Second, the Ash'arites, whilst they held that Allah existed eternally with His attributes, those that they do affirm they were not manifestation of this attribute at all until the creation of this universe. Allah was totally devoid of action, and as for speech, they only consider it a meaning in the self. As Allah was a Khaliq, the creator, yet never ever created anything for that period in eternity before creating this universe, and Allah was Al-Razzaq, the provider, yet never provided every for that period in eternity, and likewise Allah was Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim, yet no mercy, and He was Al-Qadir, yet no power confessing, and so on for all the names and attributes. Faced with explaining how the creation came to be, while is avoiding the ascription of actions al-fa'al, this essence to avoid invalidating their intellectual proof, which they took from the Jahmiyyah and Mu'tazila, saying that while is Allah wish it in eternity with His eternal irada, wish, and with His eternal qudra, the murad and maqdur, that which is wished and determined to be, was impossible to occur forever in eternity, and then it changed from impossibility, imtina, to possibility, imkan, without any reason or cause to change it from impossibility to possibility. They had to maintain this in order to avoid falsifying their proof. In other words, Allah eternity had all His attributes whose effects never manifested ever prior to creating the heavens and earth, and then all of a sudden they did to create this universe for no apparent reason. So those philosophers stood looking bewildered at these people, this making and doing this an easy game for us, and so their term of disposition said, "You have just given us an opening argue for our belief that the universe is eternal, even though we have not demonstrated any independent proof for our claim. But by attacking your position, we can support and boost our position and make it look as if ours is the only other alternative, which is that Allah's existence makes the universe existence absolutely necessary. And thus Allah and the universe are like simultaneously cause and effect. And since you mutakallimun, by using our conceptual tools, have agreed with us that no actions can be established with Allah's essence that arise from His will and power, then we can argue that the case that it is more sound in reason to believe that Allah's existence necessitates the existence of the creation, just like inextricably link cause and effect, than to believe in your nonsense that something can change from possibility, imtina, to possibility, imkan. That is the creation coming to existence through the creation action of Allah, without any newly arising reason or cause whatsoever. Instead that, so the philosophers now argued that since they consider it absurd that action for an agent or the result problem of the action can suddenly become permissible after being impossible without any reason or cause necessitating or explaining that, then it is sound to affirm that the agent has suddenly been doing and acting instead of what the Ahl Kalam were forced to hold as their view, being forced into that by their proof of Hudat al Ajsam, origination of the bodies. Now this view of the philosophers is not the same view as Al-Sunnah, who said Allah has eternally been one who speaks and acts as if, as and when He wills, which means when He wills He creates, and when He wills He speaks, and when He wills He acts, which is unlike the saying of the philosophers who, like the Al-Kalam, deny that Allah speaks and acts as and when He wills, and thus when they say Allah has eternally been acting, they mean it upon what they are already upon of denying Allah's attributes and actions. Thus, action is a matter of permanence, with His essence void of choice, will, and the individual actions arising from them. The consequence is that a universe, therefore, is an absolute must, and it must exist simultaneously with the existence of Allah, with Allah preceding it in reality, and without the universe being preceded by non-existence, because Allah and the universe are like cause and effect. If the perfect cause is there, the effect must exist simultaneously. A thing to bear in mind all along is that because the Al-Kalam, Al-Jahmiyyah, Mu'tazila, Karamiyya, Rafidi, Mujassima, Ashariya, Maturidiyya, all founded their speech about Allah upon the conceptual tools and language of the Greek philosophers themselves. Having used it to revise their proof, they were forced to converge to varying degrees with the views of the philosophers in their version of deism, as in how they describe Allah, and thus what they were all related upon in opposition to that was brought by the revealed books and saint messengers, that Allah does not have actions tied to His will and power, as in He does not and cannot act by His choice, sifat filiya, afal iktiraiya. As a result, the philosophers took to a certain explanation. Allah and the universe are like cause and effect. If the cause is present, the effect must be simultaneously present. And since Allah is eternally acting, note this is not the same view as Al-Sunnah, who, unlike the philosophers and Ahl-Kalam, affirm that Allah's speech and action is tied to His will and power. The universe is eternal along with Him, and the Ahl-Kalam took to a certain explanation, which is that the speech and action was impossible for Allah for a period, then it became possible, or that Allah had attributes in eternity but whose manifestation were impossible, and then they become impossible. Yet without them being able to explain what changed this situation from one of impossibility to one of possibility. This flaw was picked upon by the philosophers to ridicule and to claim that their view is stronger and makes more sense. Then to support their argument, they simply said, Al-Kalam, that whatever you are doing to the text of the attributes Ta'wil then they will do likewise with the text that mention the creation of the heavens and earth. So just like you explain away the attribute of Allah, we too will explain away the text mention the creation of the universe, of this universe. And our ta'wil is simply to say that the heavens and the earth were made of matter what there was eternal existing along with Allah's reason, just like cause and effect. Now the efforts of Ibn Taymiyyah are to be looked upon as follows: that he stepped up to rescue Ahl Kalam by his efforts against the philosophers, and he gives them a helping hand to get them out of their own folly and their predicament in a messy battle they got themselves into and cannot get themselves out. So if Ibn Taymiyyah destroyed their argument of the philosophers upon the correct way upon the text of the book and the Sunnah, and showed that they were indeed more astray than the Al Kalam, and their argument more fertile, even if at the same time the views of Al Kalam are also fertile, because they departed from the book and the Sunnah. Ibn Taymiyyah wrote 1-189: لكن وجود الموجب بالذات في الأول في الأزال محال، لأنه يلتزم أن يكون موجبا ومقتضاه الأزلية، وهذا ممتنع لوجوب. أي نعم. However, the existence in eternity of al-mujib bil-that, one whose essentially necessitates the existence of others simultaneously, is impossible because it requires the existence of that which is necessitated, mujab muqtada, to also be eternal, and this is impossible from numerous angles. The Ibn Taymiyyah proceeds to destroy this claim of the philosophers by mentioning around 7 or 8 angles of refutation, whilst noting that this is the alternative proposed by the philosophers against the proof of the Mutakallimin. Ibn Taymiyyah also wrote 1-204 after pointing out a particular argument which can be used to affirm the opposite of what its proponent intends by it. ومتى كان ذلك ممكنا باطل كل ما يحتاج به على قدم شيء من العالم، فبطل القول يقدم عالم والعلم أيضا امتناع قدمه لأنه لا يكون. And when that is possible, mumkin, then every proof alludes to argue that anything from the universe is eternal is invalidated. Thus the saying of the eternity of the universe is invalidated, and the impossibility of it being eternal becomes known. And also said in words that are very clear, 1-376: وهذا برهان مستقل في أن كل ما سوى الله محدث كائن بعد أن لم يكون، وأنه سبحانه خالق كل شيء بعد أن لم يكن شيئا، فسبحان من تفرد بالبقاء والقدم وإلزام ما سوى بالحدوث and Adam. And this is an independent evidence that whatever is besides Allah is originated, muhdad, came into existence after it was not, and that He, the Sublime, is the creator of everything after it was nothing. So Sublime is the one who is singled out with al-baqa, everlastingness, and al-qidam, eternity, and He made binding upon everything besides Him to be originated from nothing. These are clear explicit words, there's no need to comment. He also said in Conscience words 2-388: وأما دوام الحوادث فمعناه هنا دوام كونه متكلما إذا شاء، وهذا دوام كماله ونوء أي نعم جلاله ودوامه الأفعاله، وبهذا يمكن أن يكون العالم وكل ما فيه مخلوق له حادث بعد أن لم يكون، لأنه يكون سبب الحدوث هو قام بذاته من كلماته وأفعاله وغير ذلك، فيقول بسبب حدوث الحوادث، ويمتنع مع هذا أن يقول يقدم شيئا من العالم، لأنه لو كان قادما لكان مبدأ موجبا بذاته ليلزمه موجيه ومقتداه، وإذا كان الخالق فاعلا يفعل يقوم بنفسه بمشيئته واختياره امتناع أن يكون موجبا بذاته لشيء من الأشياء، فامتنع قدم شيء من العالم. As for the perpetuality of the divinity, its meaning here is that He is perpetually eternally one who speaks when he wills, and this is the perpetual eternity of his perfection, from the qualities of his majesty and the perpetuity of his actions. And it is permitted through acceptance of this that the universe and all that is within it is created by him, that is originated as it did not exist, because the reason sabbath for its origination is what is established with his essence of his words and his actions, which arise from his will, and other than that, hence the reason sabbath for the origination of events of Dulu al-Hadid is understood, and it is impossible alongside this for the eternity of anything from the universe to be spoken with, because if it had been eternal, its originator will be Mujib, Bidati, one whose very existence is instead the simultaneous existence of what is beside him, such that it requires the simultaneous existence of what is necessitated and required by his existence. Ujab al-Muqtada. However, when the creator is the doer of an act which is established with himself through his will and his choice, it is impossible then for him to be Mujib Bidati, one whose very existence necessitates the simultaneous existence of what is beside him, for anything from amongst all the beings, hence the eternity of anything from the universe is impossible. Comment. Allah said that Allah is eternally, and one who speaks and acts through his will and power is referred to as Hawadith. But the Ahl al-Kalam, they have their own innovative Kalam language to characterize and describe matters affirmed in the Book and Sunnah, and they reject Allah's chosen actions as do the philosophers, and the Ahl al-Kalam simply followed the philosophers in this because they use the conceptual tools and language of these philosophers, and thus converge with the philosophers in their language of theology in describing Allah the Most High as what they refer to as Hawadith, events, in fact Allah eternally being one who speaks, if he creates he wills, and so on. However, this is what is affirmed in the book and the Sunnah, and it is what the Imams of the Salaf upon. And upon this, they refute the Jahmiyyah and Mu'tazila when they affirm that Allah speaks and when He wills, with whatever He wills in relation to the recitation of the Quran, and is only through affirmation of this that the saying of the philosophers can be refuted and destroyed, without at the same time stating that anything besides Allah exists eternally alongside him, since there is nothing besides Allah except that it comes to existence after an existence preceded by its own existence, brought about through Allah's speech and action, which are tied to his will and power. However, since the Mutakallimin comprised themselves by relying upon the conceptual tools of those philosophers and were forced to deny what the Book and Sunnah affirm to Allah, they contain a false or corrupt proof to demonstrate. The universe is originated, they were unable to reconcile between reason and revelation and refute the philosophers adequately, and thus it appeared to them that there can only be two views, either their view or the view of the philosophers, and this is because they were already compromised in having been forced to deny what is manifest in the Book and the Sunnah, that Allah has speech and action tied to his will and power, understandable like this on account of the considerable baggage they took from the philosophers as part and parcel of their theological language and debate. It was this kalam that the Salaf severely condemned the language of Al-Jasam, Al-Jawahir, and Al-Rad bodies and their incidental attributes. These are just a sample of the quotation from Minhaj al-Sunnah, and it's just to indicate that the reputation of the eternity of the universe or eternity of anything besides Allah is found in abundance in major and minor works of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. Further, reading the following two detailed articles will help you get a better grasp of this subject of Hawadith events without origination and the likes, which have a connection to the issue of the universe being originated or eternal. Aina Muhammad al-Anwar al-Kashmiri al-Diyubandi al-Mutarudi on Abu Hanifa al-Bukhari ibn Taymiyyah and Sifat al-Fi'liyah and the issue of Hadith al-Makhluq. Allah musta'an. A number of articles have been published on Ash'ari's.com which relate to this subject, which are recommended for reading. These articles provide a holistic treatment of the entire issue and allow a true evaluation of the slander made against Ibn Taymiyyah that he claims the universe is eternal.